Mending Wall by Robert Frost, 1874 to 1963. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground-swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on a stone. But they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps, I mean. No one has seen them made or heard them made. But at spring mending time, we find them there. I let my neighbour know beyond the hill. On a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. To keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loaves and some so nearly balls. We have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. There, where it is we do not need the wall. Here is all pine, and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbours. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbours? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offence. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather he said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand. Like an old stone savage armed, he moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbours. Okay, so let's see. This poem is by Robert Frost. He's a very famous American poet. Let's see. I think he was a schoolmaster. And I think this poem was published in 1914. Let's see. It's about two farmers who are maintaining the wall, mending the fence between their two properties. And the poem is looking at fences and the nature of fences. And I think it's also thinking about the boundaries or the nature of the boundaries between people. And maybe it's good to have clear barriers between people so that they can't offend or upset each other. But then also is wondering about, are these types of barriers absolutely necessary? Are they something that are actually useful for us? So anyway, notice as well, this is in free verse. It doesn't rhyme. This is just free verse, and I think that's one of the reasons it reads so nicely, reads so easily. So something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen groundswell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun. So here he's saying that there's something about a wall, there's some maybe magical creature that doesn't like walls. It makes the ground swell, get bigger underneath the wall, and this makes the rocks on the top of the wall fall over. So it's like he's saying that it seems that there's some magical force in nature that breaks a wall, makes gaps, even two can pass abreast. So abreast is two people standing one beside another. So this magic wall breaking thing makes gaps that even two people standing together can pass. The work of hunters is another thing. So yes, also hunters destroy walls, but that's something different. That's different from what he's talking about. And he's sometimes he has come after hunters have been, and the hunters they have left not one stone on stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. So clearly he's talking about a rabbit that runs under a wall to hide from the dogs. And the hunters come and they start lifting off the stones to get the rabbit out of the wall so that the dogs can catch it. But he says that's different. Yeah? The gaps, I mean. So he's talking about these gaps that appear, but not made by hunters. No one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. So it's almost like magic, he's saying, that nobody has ever seen these holes made in the wall. Yeah, nobody's ever heard them, but when it comes to mending time, they're there. Those holes are there. I let my neighbour know beyond the hill. Okay, so I talked to my neighbour, yeah, who lives on the other side, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. So he makes an arrangement with his neighbour, and they walk down the wall. And they put the wall back together between them, yeah, because it's going to be much better if they're both there and each one can repair their own side. So we keep the wall as we go, wall between us as we go. So one on each side going down the wall. To each, the boulders that have fallen to each. Okay, so if the rocks or the boulders have fallen on your side, then you've got to put them back. Yeah. And if on the other side, then it's the other person who needs to put them back. And some are loaves and some so nearly balls. We have to use a spell to make them balance. So some of the rocks look like loaves of bread and some of them are very round. And often it's very difficult to make the stones balance together. And it's like you need to use a magic spell to make these rocks balance in the right position. And then you say to the rocks, stay where you are until our backs are turned. Yeah, so don't fall out. Just stay there until I can't see you anymore. And then you can jump out again. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. So, yeah, it's not good for your fingers. You scrape the skin on your fingers, handling and moving these rocks. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. So, okay, he's treating it like a game that you play outdoors with one person on either side of the wall. It comes to little more. It's nothing more than that. There, where it is, we do not need the wall. So now he's calling into question the fact of, do we really need this wall? What's the point of having this wall? Yeah? Walls are no good. Yeah? Walls separate people. Maybe in this case, though, it's bringing them together on their edges. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. Okay, so on his side, it's all pine trees. And on my side, it's all apple trees. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. So I make a joke and I say, look, my apple trees are not going to come over on your side and eat the pine cones under your pine trees. Yeah, so we don't really need a wall. He only says, good fences make good neighbours. So this is the other side of this idea. Frost is asking why do we have fences? Why are there fences? But the neighbour says that good fences mean it's easier to be good neighbours because we know the limits. The limits between people are clearly defined. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. So he's playing around. It's spring, and he's just having fun, and he wonders if he could put a notion, put an idea in his neighbour's head. Why do they make good neighbours? So Frost asks his neighbour, why do walls make good neighbours? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. So, if we had cows, then a wall might be a good idea because my cow would go onto your land and start eating your crops and destroying your things. Yeah, and that would definitely be a reason to have a wall. But here we don't have any cows. Before I built a wall, I asked to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offence. So before I built a wall, I would want to know what I'm trying to keep in or what I'm trying to keep out, and who might be offended by the presence of this wall. And then he goes back to this idea that something is there that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. So here again, he's saying there's some sort of force in nature that wants to destroy walls, some magic force that breaks these walls. I could say elves to him. So I could say to him, maybe it's elves, magical creatures that destroy these walls. But it's not elves exactly. And I'd rather he said it for himself. So it's not really elves, it's something else. And I would rather the idea of some magical creature destroying the walls comes to his own mind. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand. So I see him and he's got a stone in each hand and he's holding them, he's grasping them at the top, like an old stone savage armed. So like somebody from the primitive ages who's got a stone in his hand and he's going to attack. Yeah? He moves in darkness, as it seems to me. So maybe he's just repairing this wall because that's the thing to do. And he doesn't really think about it. Not of woods only, and the shade of trees. Okay, so yeah, he's repairing the wall because this is what you do. He will not go behind his father's saying. So I think the father of the neighbour was always using this saying, good fences make good neighbours. And clearly the neighbour is proud of this phrase, and he's not going to go against this phrase of his father's. And he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbours. So again, my neighbour repeats, good fences, yeah, good barriers between people mean that society can work very more easily, can work well. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Mending Wall by Robert Frost.